2 years ago when we actually lost in the championship. And we had two of our senior players that year, Charlie Marquardt and Jalen Morris, who are playing overseas ball now. One plays in the NBA actually. And then we made it all the way to the championship and lost pretty much because we didn't get a 50-50 possession.
Watler, hands off for Corbett on the switch. Watler guarding him. Left corner, Marquardt for three. Good. Wow, does he make that look easy?
Unbelievable. 42 points now for Charlie Marquardt.
72-65. And Tobin Anderson can only grin/grimace on the stack bench. Watler to the basket. Watler looking for contact. Play on. Here's Marquardt. Marquardt pulls back for three. Good!
Patience here for Molloy on the half-court set. Looking for Marquardt off the screen.
Morris with a fall-away three is good! Jalen Morris, that shot came out of nowhere. Watler's another player, and you see him take the ball now with Jenkins guarding him. Game clock down to 6 to 5. Watler's blocked by Jenkins. It comes loose. Marquardt has it, but doesn't get the shot off. Marquardt didn't get the shot off at the buzzer, and we go to overtime. Molloy settling things down. Outside it comes for Dennis. Dennis's pass is picked off by Watler. Watler's on the run, attacking the basket. Watler absorbs the contact. Play on. Watler misses the shot. Corbett stolen by Watler. Back and forth we go. McFarland takes the touchdown pass. Leads up. Good. And the foul.
Oh, my goodness.
What an atmosphere here at Hubbell Gymnasium. Watler, fall away jumper. Front rim, Reyes with the rebound. Reyes with the right hand, goes glass.
Well, it's been all Reyes here in the overtime, defensively and offensively. An offensive rebound and a putback, a pair of block shots, extends the lead.
Stack by 3. Jenkins crosses over on Mitchell. Hands for Gazzardi. Gazzardi loses it and travels. And Gazzardi didn't handle a pass cleanly.
You know, again, you got to look more for Marquardt. He is not getting the ball in his hands. I know that Gazzardi has position on the low blocks, but right now, you have to get Marquardt the basketball. Watch the replay here. Nice pass underneath, but Gazzardi couldn't handle it. He shuffles his feet. Steve, no matter how you do it, you have to get Charlie Marquardt the basketball.
Stack by 3, 85-82. 2 minutes to play in overtime. Here's Watler for Reyes. Reyes faces Morris, backs his way in, pivot step, leans in, right hand, front rim off. Rebound wrestled away by McFarland. Basket counts and the foul. Shaquille McFarland with the putback. With 12 seconds to go, he gets into the forecourt. McFarland dribbling it out with 9. St. Thomas Aquinas spreading the floor. Mitchell has it. Marquardt tried to feint them and go for the steal with 2, with 1. It's over. Back to back. Stack. The St. Thomas Aquinas College Spartans are the East Coast Conference men's basketball champion.
We always talk about the importance of like winning the small battles, you know, the rebounding, 50-50 possessions and stuff like that. And so we had lost that battle and ended up losing the championship. And so at that time, our seniors this year were sophomores. And so the next year after that, we had a tough year, tumultuous year, but we ended up making it to the playoffs, ended up getting to the semis in the ECC, and ended up laying an egg in the semifinals and ended up losing. And so last year, our seniors this year were juniors. So coming into this year, we had a pretty good understanding of what we was coming into the season with. We had a lot of experience in regards to, you know, what it takes to win, how it feels to lose big, you know, team camaraderie. We had a lot of that coming into the season, so we knew that, you know, we had the pieces in regards to like pillars on our team to be successful. And then we had a very good freshman class that came in this year who definitely helped us out major in regards to where we're at. So when you compile all of those things going into the season, we knew that we had the ingredients to be successful. Our goal was to cut down the net from the very beginning of the year. And so preseason, me and Coach spoke about what is it going to take very early on to create a culture this year, specifically for this year, that is going to have a lasting effect enough to allow us to endure things that happen in the course of a season, so that we don't break, and that, you know, ultimately we'll be successful and be the last man standing. And so, you know, Coach allowed me, and this is why I love Coach, you know, he allowed me, you know, former player, to curate a lot of the preseason. Like when it comes to preseason conditioning, like Coach pretty much lets me do what I do, right? You know, after I'm done, I send it to him, and he says yes or no, but like, you know, Coach lets me get in my bag. And so, you know, Coach also knows that I have a nonprofit, Connective Inc., and some of the stuff that we were focusing on in my nonprofits were called culture clinics. And basically a culture clinic is a time where, you know, we focus on things that are specific to the kids that we're dealing with. And so for our guys, the thing specific for us for success was to focus on the importance of emotional intelligence, right? Being able to communicate through adversity, and resilience. Those are our 3 pillars at Connective, but those are also 3 pillars that we use and stood on for this year during preseason, and also for throughout the entire year. And so we started out with having a 5-minute mile. That was the thing that I started out with, like from very early on. I told the guys, listen, you got a 5-minute mile. And, you know, anybody that plays basketball, you know, that's a 5-minute mile. That's serious business, you know. That means you really pretty much have to be going a specific speed for the entire duration of the mile. And my thought process behind that was like, you know what, I want us to have our feet in the fire immediately, right? I don't want, you know what I'm saying? And so if they fail, I want them to fail big, and I want them to fail hard, and I don't want it to hurt, right? Meaning that in order to make a 5-minute mile, if you don't make it, even if you miss it by 10 seconds, or you miss it by 30 seconds because you're out of shape, you had to push yourself to make the 5-minute mile. So you're in pain, like you're hurting. And so the fact that you didn't make it, but the fact that you're hurting, but you gave a great effort, right? You know that as a player. And so if for those players who didn't come in shape, ready to do it, then they would also be in pain, but they would also know that part of the reason why they're in pain is because they just didn't prepare well. Focus on accountability as well, like self-accountability, be able to hold yourself accountable, because in order for you to hold anybody accountable, you have to hold yourself accountable first. So these are the things that we focus on very early on, right? And so a lot of the stuff that we did in preseason was like all-inclusive cardio, where there wasn't a lot of times where people could stand and watch. It was everybody moving all of the time, everybody involved, everybody engaged. And so from AIC, all-inclusive cardio, we were able to see, you know, each individual's player's PPI, which is a player push index, which basically allowed us to see, you know what I mean, what broke certain players, what players could be under duress physically, but also still handle themselves at a high level mentally, right? And so with the AIC and the PPI, you know, the player push index, it gave us a good understanding of, you know, what we had collectively as a team in regards to just, you know, the fight we had in us. Not necessarily from a skill aspect, because we know what we was getting from our returners, you know, and we also, and from our freshmen, we wasn't necessarily really looking for much from them this year, you know, and some of them surprised. They all surprised us, because they all gave us very good energy throughout the whole entire year. But it basically was just so we can see where we were at for the year, put them through the fire early, so that at the beginning of the year, when they got to the end of the year, they could say, you know what, we've been here before. You know, maybe not in the game aspect, but we've been here before. We're very early on, like we were put right in the fire, and we were able to, you know, persevere. Seniors, we have Curtis Jenkins.
The road dogs, you know, most of our wins came from on the road, so that's what we do. We like that environment, and also being together away on the trips, you know what I'm saying? It really gets us going.
Which is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. We had Mike Torrey, which is, you know, he was an integral part, very integral part. He ended up making the tying basket to put us in overtime in the championship game, you know, and we had my guy Chris.
Pumped, you know, we're still, you know, excited about, you know, winning the ECC for the first time in school history.
These guys were intricate integral in regards to our success. Now, Curtis, the freshman, you know, he played as a freshman alongside Charlie and Jay. So he played all 4 years, pretty much had logged significant minutes. But I think that this year he matured a lot. Still issues that, you know, I think that we had to deal with, you know, in regards to being responsible, maturity, being on time. But the one thing Coach always says is that, you know, we're not necessarily coaching these kids for success on the court. We're coaching them for, you know, success in life off the court, right? So the things that, you know, Curtis struggled with were important for us to help him out with, because more importantly, we knew that these are the things that would ultimately make him successful off the court, right? And so, but he's a great guy, motor. He got a dog in him. You know what I'm saying? Kurt got a dog in him that you can't, you know what I mean, you can't coach, right? You can't train, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a competitor. And very early on in his career, he was so much a competitor that it was a detriment to himself. You know, he wanted to make the biggest play all of the time. He wanted to dunk it rather than making a layup when we were down one. Kurt would do the most, right? But then Kurt would get it back on defense. Like, Kurt would do the most ultimate dribble head, dribble through the defense, dribble through 3 people, but then get it back on defense. So you're like, oh, Kurt! Then he gets it back. So you're like, oh, Kurt! So you let them rock. But, I mean, so from freshman year to a senior year, he matured immensely, right? He matured immensely and was an integral part of us being successful. You talk about Mike Torrey. Mike Torrey came in, I used to call him Top Gun, right? Because he had the Tom Cruise look. He was a pretty boy, you know what I'm saying? Like, had the part in his head with the little sachet across with the gel and all of that, you know. Mike was special very early on. Like, Mike just wanted to get better. Like, Mike was a pretty boy, but he wanted to get better, but he was a hard worker. But his freshman year, that boy could not run down the court without tripping over his own 2 feet. I'm talking about like, he could be sitting on the sideline watching the game and get hurt. That's like, I ain't understand it. But his sophomore year, he hit some very big shots. We played St. John's at St. John's. Maybe it was Rutgers. We played Rutgers at Rutgers, and we gave him a run for their money. And we had put him in. I think he had hit a 3 to put us up one. And it was just it was those moments that allow you to see that, you know, a player's personality, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, whereas some players don't want to be in those moments, even though they say they want those moments. In the reality, when they're confronted with those moments, they shrink. He never shrunk to those moments. He always wanted to be in those moments. And one of the things that, you know, Mike had a chip on his shoulder a lot because people never, you know what I'm saying, he never got the acclaim that he thought he deserved, or, you know, people always looking at somebody else overlooking him. And so it was very apparent that he had a chip on his shoulder. And then also that same year, we played St. Leo's in Florida, and he hit another big shot. I'm talking about like 30 seconds left. We down 2. You know what I'm saying? The ball swings to him off a double from Jay. Then Jay passes it to Charlie. Charlie pump fakes, passes it to Steve in the corner, and then to Mike in the corner. Steve is his little brother, and he just like not even a thought. He just like, yeah, this is going up all net. And then one more game I remember, we was playing at Delphi. We was getting smacked, and I don't know, like by 20 in the second half. We was down 20 in the second half, but we started to make a little run. And so Mike was sitting right next to me. Like, where I sit on the bench, I sit closest to the team, right? So my coach doesn't sit down. So it's coach always up on the sidelines, is up. Coach very rarely. I think Coach may have sat down one time this entire season. Is when we was smacking the team. Then it's Coach Cap. And then it's Pat. Coach Pat. He's the head offensive guy in the longest. He's the longest term assistant that Coach. He's been here 10 years. Coach Pat and Coach Marquardt coached me when I played here. So then it's me. So Mike is right here next to me. So we're making this run. Mike's like, Coach. They call me ITM. They're like, ITM. Like, come on, put me. I need it. Put me in. I'm ready. I'm like, all right. And so me and Coach Pat have a relationship where Pat makes the rotation, right? That's what he does. But as a coaching staff, you know, I will be like, Pat, maybe we should do this, maybe we should do this. Sometimes it's like, okay, let's try it. Sometimes it's like, no, that's a dub. I'd say we're not doing it. But like, that's part of like coaching, but also I always tell the guys that's part of life. Like, I get shut down all the time. I get shut down by my wife. I get shut down on my job. So being told no by one of my coaches, you know what I'm saying, that's fine. So I'm like, all right. So I'm like, Pete, let's look at Mike. He's like, nah, Mike's not ready. So I'm like, all right, I leave it alone. Like, you know what I mean? So then Mike's like, come on, I'm ready. So I say, all right, Mike, I got you. Just give me a second. It goes maybe another 2 to 3 minutes, maybe less than that, maybe 40, 50 seconds. I go, P, let's look at Mike. Let's look at Mike. He's like, yo, you sure? I was like, yeah, I'm sure. He's like, all right. So then we go, he tells Mike to, you know what I'm saying, go in the game. Mike goes in the game. Mike hits like 3 threes, 3 big threes. We end up rallying back down 20 in the second half to beat Adelphi at home. That was the season part of our championship run. And those are one of those moments that where you saw that sometimes it's more than just basketball, where like, you know, if you play the right way, the game rewards you. And so because they never gave up and they played the right way, the game rewarded them.
And finally, senior guard from Hudson, New Jersey, number 14, Chris O'Reilly.
His first couple years, he was behind a lot of different shooters, and even this year, you know, he didn't. As a senior, you know, anybody would have wanted. You've been in the program for 4 years. You want a specific amount of time. You think that you've earned that, and in spots where he could have been like, "Yo, this is whack," or you know, I deserve more than this. He wasn't like that. He was about the team. He's like, you know, what is it gonna make the team to win? And of course, there was times where he felt like he should have been in the game more. But he was, you know, Chris is a very good guy, very humble, very mature, but he could shoot that ball, right? And he hit some very, very big shots for us this year. But I think more importantly than the shots that he hit for us on the court, it was the way he handled himself off the court. As a senior who thought that he should have been getting, and rightfully so, he could have, like, that's his right to feel that way. For the younger guys to see him act like that, you know, to act so mature and professional about it, it allows them to be like, you know, well, I know how I need to act moving forward. It doesn't matter if I'm a freshman or a senior, it's a certain way that you act when you're a part of a team. And Chris, you know, not only showed that, he ended up hitting the, you know what I'm saying, one of the biggest shots of the season on the foul line to secure the championship. Then you got Derek, D-Money, they call him Unk. Derek had a very tough freshman year. You know, he played at Kellenberg. Derek wasn't the most athletic guy that we had coming in as a freshman, and coach is big on bringing guys in, 4-year guys. Coach didn't really like transfer guys because he wants guys to grow with the program, right? Coach is big on culture, so, you know, when you bring a two-year guy in, you know, you're bringing in somebody who's already had a part of some other culture, whether it be good or bad, and so now integrating that guy into something that you organically want to create is somewhat harder. So, you know, Coach got Derek and Mike went to school together, so they had some energy together, and so Derek's freshman year was tough. He didn't really get a lot of burn. And, you know, similar to Mike, he got better as the years went on. but there was one incident between him and Maurice Gatson. Maurice Gatson is another alumni. They was on a layup line, and I don't know what they had said because I was on the bench during practice. But Mo Gatson had said, "Yo, you don't really love this game," and like they almost got into like a little situation. And I think that's healthy. You know what I'm saying? So we watched it. You know what I'm saying? We watched it unfold a little bit, right? You know what I'm saying? Not till it got out too crazy, but like Lions got to be Lions sometimes. And officially, we Molloy, so we're officially Lions, right? But young men have to feel comfortable being able to, you know what I'm saying, speak their mind, right? And so one of the things we want to always teach them is how to speak their mind in a way that's conducive to their message being heard, right? But so in that moment, I don't know if Mo was concerned about having his message heard or more so relaying the fact that he felt disrespected. But the moment in time was important because Mo questioning Derek's love for the game that year, his freshman year, is part of the spark that had him get better every year, right? And so this year, his senior year was the best version of himself. You know, I remember his sophomore year when we went to the championship. We're right there. He's on the bench with all of this feelings, all of this emotion, and I'm just like, yo, you gotta chill, like you gotta relax, like you gotta have some. He's like, no, but I just want to win so bad, right? And that same emotion that he had 2 years ago was what helped us win this year, right? And so there were times in a championship game where, or in games in general, where Derek had a never quit attitude. Derek would be emotionally charged to make sure his team never felt down. And so these are the things that you don't get spotlighted on the stat sheet. These are the things that, you know what I'm saying, when you look at the whole season that you may not see because you're only looking at the scoreboard, but like Derek was a big contributor in regards to us winning. And so when I look at how we line the season up, it's basically based around our, you know what I'm saying, our 4 seniors. You know, we was only going to go as far as they would take us. Into the playoffs, you know, we was on another win streak, and then what happens is the first game of the playoffs we have to play a team that we played almost a week ago, which was UDC. The UDC is a tough, you know what I'm saying, DC team. They're tough, right? You know, they got a bunch of crafty, hard-nosed guards, you know, who give it up. They from, you know, so they a lot of them from the gutter, right? And so, like, you know, their work ethic and hustle in regards to, you know what I'm saying, like wanting to put it all in is hard to measure at times, right? But we did that. And so coming in here, we played here first round because we was on the way. Last game of the season, we went to overtime with St. Thomas Aquinas. St. Thomas Aquinas is the team that we lost to the championship, and we basically have never beaten in almost, like, you know what I'm saying, since I've been here. I've been coaching for 5 years. And so we go to overtime with them, right? We end up losing in overtime. So before we lost that game, we went into that last game of the season, and it was like a 3-way tie for first. If we would have won that game, or first and second, we would have won that game, we would have got second, and we would have got a bye. First 2 teams get a bye. We end up losing that game, so we don't get a bye. We play first round here. We play a team that we already beat twice. They always say it's hard to beat a team 3 times, right, in the season, right? That's the 8-0 adage. So we come in here, we know it's going to be a tough game. It's tough. It's a grinder. Probably the most nervous game we had all playoffs. First round, first half, like, we're missing shots. We're not making any shots. They're locking up. You know what I mean? They're being more aggressive. You know, and so we go into this halftime, I think down 2, or maybe up 2. Second half, it was a grind. It came down to that last 90 seconds. It came down to 2 or 3 possessions. Like that, the margin of victory was very, very narrow, but we end up winning, right? After we beat UDC, we go up to Bridgeport, and Bridgeport is the last time we went to the championship was in Bridgeport, where we lost that, right? So we go to this dinner, they have the awards dinner, that Friday. So we go to the awards dinner, and it's funny. We all get dressed, everybody's fresh or whatever, but it's like nostalgic. Like, yo, Dad, we were here 2 years ago, and we made it to the championship. So like, this is our time. Similar to when like I said, when we beat Damon at Damon down 12 with 2 minutes ago, it had that, like, you knew that it was bigger than us. It wasn't just because we wanted it, it was because like the stars were aligned, it was our time. So Coach Cap goes into Coach's room. Coaches at the table looking at game tape. The coach look at game tape, so the game tape is just like it's gonna change. Coach is over the game tape like this, knocked out, right? Coach is watching game tape until he fell asleep, because coach was trying to make sure, like a leader does, that his soldiers is gonna be prepared to be successful. So then we go into stack. You know, we do our regular routine. I get out there, we do our pregame stuff, you know, individual stuff, blah, blah, blah. And it was a hard-fought game. You know, it came down to the last 90 seconds. You know, the last 2 minutes, like we say. You know, the games are won and lost in that last 2 minutes of the game. And so we end up winning that game, going to the chip, and then and then Bridgeport won. Bridgeport beat Damon. So what we said at the banquet ends up coming true. It's Molloy and Bridgeport in the championship. We get there, we ready to go. You know what I mean? We go through the pre-game stuff that we always do. Keep it regular. You know, everybody's feeling good. Game starts, we get smacked by 20. They come out firing. I'm talking about smacked us. Like, we just stuck. But there's so much time in the game that, you know, you can't allow yourself to get caught in that moment like, okay, well, dang, like it's over. But like we got blitzed. I'm talking about blitzkrieg, like for real. And so it was just like amazing to watch, like, wow, like this is really happening right now. And it wasn't because we were scared, it's just because we wasn't making shots. And, you know, or maybe we were high initially, but then we started to settle down, but we still weren't making shots. So then going into the second half, like, we had an uphill battle, you know, and we started to get stops, and we started to believe. And then, like I said, Derek, in the same position that he was 2 years ago, was like, we're not gonna lose, starts turning up, and like, as the team's walking over to the timeout, and I can't tell you what they were thinking. Maybe they had a doubt in their mind. Maybe they were on the brink of, you know what I'm saying, like allowing fear to take over. But Derek was like, nah, we're not gonna, like on some, like the Hulk. And like, it's just what they needed at that time. Whereas 2 years ago, I was like, yo, you bugging. And then 2 years now, it's perfect timing. And it also lets you know the growth in regards to people. Like me as a coach, I thought that I needed to constrain that. And whereas 2 years removed, that's something that needed to happen, right? So that's how things happen sometimes. And so Derek gets in the game too. Derek, you know what I'm saying? So now we're starting to, like, you know, you can feel it, like, cause we always, like, you always knew with us that we wasn't never gonna give up this year. Like, it wasn't no time where, like, it was just a game over. Like, you knew we had a wave or pushing us, or like one more pushing us, you know what I'm saying, before the team actually beat us. So we knew it was coming. And so then Derek gets in the game and like smushes somebody joint off the backboard, like SWAT team. But I never seen Derek jump off the floor with so much like fast twitch. Like, he looked elite. Smooch, pop, leads to a bucket. Next time down, pop, throw somebody else shot. And now we going. Now you're like, yeah, like this is where we want to be at. Last couple seconds of the game, we're down 2. Right? This is after Knicks made big shots, Christian made big shots. I think Billy, our freshman, Billy Muller, he hits some big free throws, gets some big rebounds. We in the game now. He then so now, like I said, so now you feel it coming back, right? We're down 2. Kurt has the ball. At this point in time, I don't even know if all of the coaches even peep the time. I know I don't, because I'm so involved in the game, right? And like between praying, and looking at the game and closing my eyes and praying and looking at the game, like I'm like, yo, we're gonna win this game. You know, everybody's family there. Coach's wife is there, my wife is there, Pat's son is there, like everybody from Molloy on the other side, right? And like, you know, everybody believes, nobody's saying it's over. And so Kurt goes to the rack, smokes the layup. Kurt, the most athletic, Smokey Robinson, Kurt can smoke a layup, and that should have been on ESPN. The amount of layups I didn't see Kurt smoke in his career that looked so pretty going, I can't even count. But so he goes, he smokes the layup, right, wide open. So Smite crashes. Now, mind you, we've been working on this drill that where it's like glass taps. Then when I would call their name, they would have to get the ball off the rebound, right? Let the defender come, absorb the contact, and then finish through the contact, right? And so in that moment, that's what he does. Not because he just did the drill, more so because he was determined not to let us fail, Mike. And so he gets the ball, absorbs the contact, pow, layup, we go into overtime. And so it's so crazy because I didn't even realize that we were at that point in the game where, like, if he doesn't make that putback, it's over. So we get to the overtime, and we're still fighting. Still fighting, right? Because we always say, like, sometimes you gotta play 40 minutes. Sometimes 40 ain't enough. Sometimes you gotta play quality. You gotta put quality 40 to put yourself in a position to win. Sometimes 40 ain't enough. That's just like life, right? And so sometimes you gotta put overtime. And so overtime happens. We're going back and forth pretty much, and then it comes down to stops. We get a couple stops. We get some big shots. Chris goes on the line, hits 2 big free throws. They get the ball back, puts us up 3. They get the ball back, there's nothing they can really do. Time runs out, everybody goes wild. Fans are running around, the players are screaming at each other. Derek is screaming like the Hulk. You know what I'm saying? He's a big Avengers guy too, so he's screaming like Hurt, he's screaming like the Hulk. /Store. Everybody's running on the court, the coaches are hugging. I'm just looking at it, I'm just taking it all in. I'm like, yo, Dag, I knew this was gonna happen, right? Not that I knew, like, but I knew that we had the ability for this to happen, right? And so, cut the net down, everybody's cutting a piece of the net. We took the picture, we called it ring season, that's what they was calling it. Ring season, punch in posse, and everybody's hugging their family, the family's dead, and after that, everybody, the players run into the locker room to fill their water bottles up, and then coach comes in and they douse coach with the water. You know what I'm saying? Coach is dancing with him, you know what I'm saying? And then Coach Cap, the assistant coach, he comes in, he does his dance, he got a dance too. He does the dance, right? And then it's like, it's real, we won. You know what I'm saying? All of the players talk about, what it took for them to get there. Coach talks about it. You know what I'm saying? We talk about it. The assistant coaches talk about it. And then we're like, yo, we going to the dance. For the first year in school history, we won a championship. And for the first time in school history, we going to the NCAAs. And we're not surprised because we knew that we prepared for this moment from the very beginning of the season. We knew that, from the conflicts that we had, inter-team conflicts or whatever, the things that we did from the very beginning, prepared us for that conflict at the very end of the season, for that overtime, right? You know what I'm saying? For the refs, for whatever, and ultimately prepared us to be successful and to make history. And And that's what we did. We made history.
How do you communicate through adversity? How do you define what family really is? 4 or 5 games ago, Nick and Kurt was on 2 ends of the fucking world. If they don't sit down and G up and be men, you don't win this fucking chip, right? If Derek don't hop out his fucking skin yesterday and play like a fucking man crazy, throwing shit off the glass, getting fucking rebound like I've never seen it before, you don't do that. But in order for him to do that, he had to struggle. In order for you to hit those big threes, Chris, you had to be on the bench sometimes in your fucking feelings. But when the time got fucking right, the opportunity for you guys to fucking succeed through the motherfucking drama, what you did.
We seized the moment and we
Hey, if you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready.
He's a junior. I mean, he'd be a senior this year. He's the guy that we had on running the point guard, space cadet. A lot of upside. Hopefully his senior year he'll put it all together.
Okay.
Here's a men's locker room. It's the gun. You know. Chairs. Our chairs over there. And this the closet where I make the magic happen. You heard this? Where all the magic. This the, you know what I'm saying? A chef got a kitchen. You know what I'm saying? This would be my kitchen. They call it my apartment. They call it my apartment. You know what I'm saying? All my stuff there, my resistor bands. You know what I'm saying? These is good. I love these. You know, everybody know Vertimax, defensive men, basketballs. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I make the magic happen. This right here is Nick Corbett, Staten Island guy. He's the big shot Borbert. That's what we talked about earlier. You know what I'm saying? He got a. I always say they got him on the why because, you know what I'm saying, that's what I ask him a lot of the time, like, why do you do what you do sometimes? So it's fitting that they got him on the letter Y because I constantly ask him, like, yo, why are you doing this or why are you doing that? But he'll be a senior this year, got a dog in him and love the big moments. So, you know, I know that his senior campaign is going to be successful, but also he was an intricate part of our success this year. Look at the apartment right here, you know what I'm saying? Go downstairs. That's Steve, that's Mike's little brother. You can't really see it because it's faded out, but that's Steve Torrey. A great person that I didn't really speak about much is Tanja, who was the trainer. She kept the guys in peak physical condition. You know, if you had a guy with an injury, she was on the job, and so I mean, and she just was an absolute important part of our success this year. Probably one of the best trainers that we've had since I've been here. So this is the athletic department, like awards joint. Just a little history, you know. These are all the women's awards.
All the basketball.
And this is the East Coast Conference Award that we won this year. East Coast Conference Men's Basketball Champions, the first time ever in school history. The men's won it. Here's the one of the team picks. Curtis, stop doing that, please. Curtis, Nick, Chris O'Reilly, Derek, and where's Mike at? And Mike. These are our captains right here, and our seniors. And it's closed now, but this is where the times that made the magic happen. You know what I mean? This is where half of our guys spent majority of the season at right here in this training area. Thank goodness for the times that she kept our guys in great shape. Like I said, a very, very, very important part of our success this year. I'm talking about all above and beyond. She went above and beyond every day for the basketball team. So we definitely appreciate her. This Curtis right here is the guy, you know, who was defensive player, 3-time player of the year. You know, this will probably be down next year and they'll replace it with somebody else, but you know, big stuff from Kurt this year.
Is that better?
Yeah, stop messing it up. I'm gonna tell Curtis. So yeah, this is basically, you know, and you see the back of the shirt, it say earn. That's also part of like what we're talking about this year, is like earning every possession. You know what I'm saying? Earning the right to cut a net down, earning the right to be champions. So like this has been our motto for like the last 3 years. You know, just to like, you know, earn. You know what I mean? Period. You just gotta earn. And that correlated to the punch-in posse, to the hard hat season. You know, just putting the work in. And so this is one of the classrooms that we had the culture clinic. You know, and also, you know, integral part of our guys. This is what we had. This is where we had game tape. You get some game tape in here sometimes. We can talk in. You know what I mean? But our main hub towards the end of the season. For the end of the season was this. We was here a lot for game tape. And towards our playoff run, he was in this one. Let's see if it's open. Oh, it's locked. But yeah, so it was this room and these two rooms where we did most of our game tape, most of our culture clinics in one room upstairs. But I mean, this basically where the season took place. I mean, outside, you know, of course, our guys had to do schoolwork and things of that nature in these classrooms, but this was the hub of our success, right? You know, gym downstairs for the training facility and these classrooms, you know, for our culture clinics, and that basically was the, you know, the recipe for, you know, cutting the net down. So, you know, it's something that we plan on, you know, every year is different, but we plan on using those same ingredients for next year, you know, same ingredients for next year.